From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
The release of public documents prompts a special meeting to be held next week to review Bozeman Mayor Chris Mell's conduct. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that story coming up.
And new details of an attempted bank robbery in Bozeman emerge as the suspect appears in court. What police are saying about that crime, also coming up. It is 6:30 on this Friday. Chet Lehman, Matt Alwa with you here. The sun's starting to crest the bridgers out there. A little breeze blowing, I can see in the trees. All in all, not a bad day today. Interesting tomorrow, really interesting by next week.
Yeah, we've been watching the models all week, and it's always been showing a big cool down. But right now, man, we could be talking snow and covering the gardens by early Tuesday morning. Temperatures into the 40s for most of us this morning. Again, skies are clear, makes for beautiful sunrise. Love these shots this early in the morning. Right now, looks like daytime high should be into the mid to upper 80s. Beautiful morning in Butte as well. Warm, not a lot of wind, but temperatures will be falling. Record temperature Saturday, much cooler Sunday. We'll talk more about that on the Billion Auto Weather Patio coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 6:31 now. Our top story this half hour. Bozeman commissioners will hold a public meeting next week to review and discuss reports of Mayor Chris Mell allegedly intimidating and bullying city staff. TN's Gabby Crevitt has the details on the newly released documents, what the mayor is saying in response.
I screwed up. I admit it, I screwed up. And so it's important to learn from that and be better.
Reports of bullying and intimidation were made public Thursday afternoon and show email exchanges and communication between city staff and commissioners from the last few years.
They show two main things. One is that Mr. Mell continually interfered with the administration of the city.
More concerning reports from Cunningham's memo include instances where Mayor Mell became angry, hostile, and abusive towards interim city manager Dennis Taylor.
I did have occasion to see that on at least two occasions, apologized to the two city managers, and actually spoke to Mr. Mell and let him know that I was not pleased with that.
Mayor Mell says his style is direct, which he admits he needs to address. But he also says context is important to fully understand the exchanges that took place in the documents.
I have to understand that not everyone embraces my style, right? That's my problem. And because of how I acted, I can do better, and I have to do better.
In a released email by the former interim city manager, he notes Mell's pattern of being abrasive, hostile, and intimidating to female staff workers. Mell says that's not his MO.
I ask hard questions of everyone, whether it's the finance director or the public works director or the parks director. If there's something important, that's how I would do it.
Cunningham says he believes Mayor Mell's behavior drove former city manager Andrea Surratt to resign, which Surratt said was a factor in her leaving, according to a released email to Commissioner Cunningham. Taylor also said in a released email he contemplated his role as interim city manager because of Mayor Mell's behavior.
My goal is to be an active city commissioner. Public deserves to have active city commissioners. We're not supposed to be passive people on the boat that just do what staff tells us to do. But that doesn't mean we should be jerks about it.
The special meeting will take place next Tuesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. online via WebEx. You can learn more about how to participate in this meeting by visiting our website. Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
6:33 now. The man accused of trying to rob a Bozeman bank scheduled to appear in court yesterday. These are pictures shared with us when J. Douglas Pagler was apprehended after a chase through Bozeman that ended on Interstate 90 about 3 miles outside of Livingston. You can see weapons drawn, Pagler on the ground, surrounded by law enforcement. Court documents say because of COVID restrictions, Pagler made an appointment at Yellowstone Bank on North 19th. And when he showed up for it, he handed the employee an envelope and it said, quote, "This is a bank robbery. I want all of your 20s, 50s, 100s out of your main register. Don't sound the alarm until I've left. No stalling and paint bombs. You have 90 seconds from now," end quote. The employee inadvertently locked the safe, and when she told Pagler what happened, she was afraid he would hurt her, but he actually fled the bank. Pagler admitted to the robbery. He's unemployed, has a Boise, Idaho address, and was headed to Glacier National Park. He did have a firearm, but left it in his vehicle when he went in the bank. Pagler said he was intending to go on and rob 2 banks in Billings and 1 bank in Missoula. He's now being held on no bond at the Gallatin County Detention Center. Well, the Huff fire near Jordan that's north of Miles City continues to burn. That wildfire temporarily forced the evacuation of the entire town of Jordan. Fire now burning about 50,000 acres. There are a total of 62 crew members working on that blaze. Fire started when the Garfield County Sheriff's Office was monitoring a landowner's burning project, but the burn quickly got out of control. Montana State University continues to break records on research expenditures. For the fiscal year that ended in June, MSU increased 8%, hit $167 million. MSU's Vice President for Research, Economic Development, and Graduate Education, Jason Carter, said the past year had balanced growth in a number of departments, including agriculture, engineering, letters and science, TechLink, biomedical, and MSU Extension. Several MSU researchers have made discoveries and won awards. There is more detail on this story. You can see it by visiting our website. Now, as the holiday weekend approaches, that typically means holiday travel, and one thing you may notice is more traffic, but no construction workers. Montana Department of Transportation stopping all construction work from noon today until 7 o'clock Tuesday because of the expected holiday travel. While workers won't physically be present, MDT still wants to warn drivers to be extra careful this weekend because lots of accidents still happen around construction site from motorists not paying as much attention.
If we're not out there and they don't see the equipment running and they don't see, the flaggers out there and stuff, then they need to treat it as if we were. The signing still is, it means what it means even if we're not there.
MDT says it still expects minor delays near some of those construction sites. Well, it doesn't matter if a student is attending public or private school this year. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected every child's learning in one way or another. John Riley takes a closer look at how COVID funding has helped private schools adapt.
St. Andrew's School in Helena has been holding classes in person for about a week now for their 187 students, and there's no denying things look different. Students and staff get their temperatures checked every day, stay within class units, wash hands regularly, and are required to wear a face mask or shield if they're unable to wear a mask. St. Andrew's staff worked with public health for their plan and say the students have adapted, as kids tend to do.
I think they appreciate school a lot more, they appreciate their teachers a lot more, and just being together. So they're being cautious, they're following the rules, they're doing all they need to do, but they're loving being here.
Adapting to COVID has been an expensive endeavor for many schools. To help, the state of Montana has paid out more than $66.8 million in CARES Act COVID relief grants to schools across Montana. Around $1.8 million of that funding has gone to private schools. St. Andrew's School received a $59,000 grant, which Grotbo says has been a great help to their school.
It wasn't a tremendous amount compared to a lot of schools, but for us it was tremendous, and it really was so beneficial, so we were so very thankful that we got to have that.
Without the COVID relief grant, St. Andrew would have needed to take money from other capital projects, like textbooks or building upgrades. These grants don't only affect this year. They ensure that years down the road, these schools won't face financial burden as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Thank you, John. 6:38 now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, doctors conducting COVID-19 vaccine trials pushing back on the notion that it'll be ready for the 1st of November. Coming up, learn why in spite of that warning, doctors don't disagree with getting ready for the vaccine as soon as possible. First, let's check in with our friends at CBS This Morning to see what's coming up at 7.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, law enforcement shoots and kills a suspect in the death of a right-wing protester in Portland, Oregon. We're going to be in Portland with the latest as the city nears 100 straight nights of demonstrations. Also, as the school year begins, there are growing concerns the pandemic is affecting students' mental health. We're going to share some warning signs and also questions that parents should ask their children. And Gail talks to Alice Marie Johnson. She was pardoned by the president after serving nearly 22 years in prison for a first-time nonviolent crime. You're going to hear now how she is dedicating her life to criminal justice reform. All that and more coming up at 7.